the festive season and the drop in the rupee value is a double-edged sword for the tourism industry. While a weaker rupee makes India an attractive destination for foreign travelers, the domestic hospitality sector may bear the brunt of the high import prices for certain liquor and food items. What does the demand trend look like this festive season? Let's find out from Sharat Dhall of Yatra.com and Aman Nath of Neemrana Hotels. Gentlemen, thanks very much for joining me in this discussion. I'll start off with you first, Sharat, in terms of the overall lead up to the festive season and whether or not you've seen a significant uptick in terms of ticketing.
Firstly, thanks for having me on the show. So actually, we've there's been a lot of talk around the exchange rate and the fact that ATF prices have gone up and the impact as far as the airfares are concerned. What we've actually seen really so far is that it's been pretty normal in terms of the increase that on the yields as far as airfares are concerned, considering that we are getting into the peak season. So what we are so far seeing is that there hasn't really been any impact as far as the demand side is concerned. We have seen fairly robust demand even on the international packages front, which was an area that we felt may come under a bit of pressure, considering that there has been some increase in the prices of typical packages to the more popular destinations out of India. But so far we haven't seen anything happening in terms of a dampening of demand. And I think what we are actually seeing is that there are a plethora of options on the accommodation side, as well as the fact that with the budget carriers in, a lot of people kind of manage their budget and are pretty clear that if they are looking at a destination, they're going to find ways to fit it into their budget. By looking at either a slightly lower cost accommodation or reducing the number of days that they had planned originally to go for. But I think the destinations are really aspirational for people and they are very fixed on them. And then they work around that and make it fit into their budget, as long as it doesn't go out of a range. So I think we're still within that range. We aren't seeing so much of an impact as far as any dampening of demand. So far things are looking pretty good. We had a fairly aggressive travel festival last month, and towards the end of September, which was very well received, and we got a very good uptick in that during that period. And so far we are very optimistic that the season will go very well.
Right. So generally this is the heaviest travel quarter of the year because of the festive season. On a comparative basis, from a year-on-year basis right now, has the market seen a significant expansion, and are you seeing a stark difference in the international demand versus the domestic demand?
So actually it's right at the early part of the season. October, actually the season is pretty much from around the middle of October all the way on till about the middle of January to end of January, as far as the Indians traveling either domestically or overseas during this season. And it's early days yet, but so far, the demand, the inquiries that we are seeing are fairly robust over last year. We are seeing a growth in the kind of queries that we are getting in excess of 20% over last year, which is fairly robust. And we aren't seeing any significant shift towards domestic destinations vis-a-vis international so far. Typically, during this season, the international destinations that are popular with the Indians are, the Southeast Asia, Bali, Mauritius, Australia. These are the destinations which are the most popular ones. And so far, we aren't seeing any, drop in terms of the demand on that side, actually.
All right. I'll come back to you, Sharat, in just a few moments. Mr. Nath, I want to come to you in terms of, what are the expectations around festive seasons, and how do you expect occupancies to shape up?
At Neemrana, we're very upbeat because we have lots of bookings. You know, I'd agree with Sharat that we haven't felt anything. There's been nobody's talked about this. I think the segment that travels is very mildly affected by these things. The upper segment, but we also get the middle segment, which is quite delighted with Neemrana because we offer a range of destinations and prices. So it's not because once they made up their mind that they're going to the Neemrana Fort Palace or to Patiala, that they will suddenly change their mind on any of the issues that you were talking about. I think and weddings, it's very upbeat. You know, we've got 25 weddings booked in one place, 22 in one place. So our marketing team is very buoyant, and if you're looking at the Indian market, I think that the little change that is happening is that that kind of shopping mall audience has been through that. Now they want to discover, they want to get to the wilderness. So if you want to go to the wilderness, let's say the Hill Fort Caseroli, which is 700 years old, transports you back in time, and also it takes you to a countryside where there are mustard fields. So it serves that urban-rural, connect or disconnect, and people come back feeling damn good. So I think we are very happy about the way things are going. What we can't change, you can't change,
Sure. But what are the occupancies standing at currently, sir? If you could just give me a number. And obviously you cater to the more high-end market in terms of the kind of room rates or rack rates that you have. Are you seeing...
No, we don't actually. That's a misconception.
All right. So you are seeing the mid-segment also come in?
Yeah. No. Yeah, absolutely. We've always been. We are not luxury because we are actually experiential. And our rates, are highly affordable, and even in the big fort palaces, we have 4 or 5 price ranges. So you can, take a room which is cheaper, but the experience is the same because when you're wandering through the hanging gardens or doing the zip line or whatever, or a camel ride, all the experiences are common. It's only the space that you return to could be bigger, smaller, or less dramatic in view. But that's basically the night, and people are very happy to do that. Yes.
Right. So
it depends what you're offering. Actually, I think that.
So my question on the occupancy rate, if you could answer that.
Yeah. So our season has begun. And in season we have from 60 to 80% occupancies, and that's wonderful considering that we are not business hotels, because we have lots of conferences that happen in our places, which are during the week. We encourage them during the week. The weekends are full anyway. So if Saturdays are full, then people are obliged to take Fridays or sleep Sundays, because they can actually go from many of our hotels to their places of work. So it's a different, if you drive 100 kilometers out of Delhi into Neemrana, Caseroli, Tijara, which are, let's say, the 3 big forts, you are almost in Jaisalmer. So why would you have to do 8 hours or 16 hours when you can get the same experience? You look at the skyline, the air is clean, you can see the stars, you can go down in the village, you can cycle. So I think the results that we get in revenue are directly proportionate to what we offer them.
Got that, sir. Sharat, I want to come to you. I mean, you most likely will be starting off your festive sale offers, in a market like this, when you're saying that demand is not getting hampered and you are seeing a pickup both on the domestic side as well as the international side, you're not looking to make it extremely aggressive, which probably could affect the margins a bit?
No, actually what happens is that the offers are structured in a manner that we partner with a number of different players, and who have shared objectives in terms of customer acquisition, and hence we are able to offer the customer a fairly aggressive offer while not significantly hampering our margins. So one of the things that a lot of these promotions and offers are done in conjunction with payment options in terms of credit cards or rather the banks as well as the wallets, and there are a number of offers which are linked to the usage of these, and that makes it a very attractive proposition to buy during these particular periods. For example, last month there was an offer on the international packages side where you could get up to 40,000 off on an international package using a particular bank payment options. So that's how these are structured. And the other thing that is also working is the fact that a lot of customers end up breaking up their payments, so in the form of EMIs. And that's another thing that we are seeing an increasing incidence of, where people are choosing to pay over a 6-month or a 9-month period on their credit card rather than upfront. And for a long time this has happened in consumer durables, but it's clearly happening in travel as well, where people say that I want to go to this particular destination, it's a little out of reach, but I can pay it off in the next 6 months to 9 months. So it also reflects the fact that there is a fair degree of confidence in terms of and optimism in terms of consumers at this stage, and we haven't seen a dampening of that, which is the reason that the demand is still robust, despite the fact that some of the prices have moved up by 5 to 7% over last year, if I really look at it.
All right, we'll leave it at that, gentlemen. Mr. Nath and Sharat, thanks very much for joining us in this discussion. So the takeaway from this discussion, the festive season is still going strong. We're still entering the festive season, and there doesn't seem to be a dampener of the rupee depreciation in terms of whether it be international travel, domestic travel. Occupancy rates are still at the higher end for hotels. So that's going into the festive season.